Let's draw nature. Okay, welcome back to Let's Draw Nature. Today we're going to be drawing a very, very important bird in human history, and that is the pigeon. Now the pigeon, long before the internet or long before the telephone, these ones were able to deliver letters and important messages. Sometimes they determined the outcome of a war because they would be behind, fly behind enemy lines and whatnot, and they were able to convey important messages. And they're not, as you can see, they're generally not really afraid of humans. So today, let's draw a pigeon.
Okay, so welcome back to Let's Draw Nature. Today all you're going to need is your HB pencil and a piece of Kleenex, a kneaded eraser if you have one, and you need a sharpener or at least a sharpened pencil. So we're going to get right started here, and today we are going to draw a pigeon. And so again, this picture was supplied to me from my friend Ken Richardson, and it's a really good close-up of a pigeon, I guess, that you would typically see. Now, okay, we're going to get started, and we're doing a portrait format today, like so. And I'm going to look at the negative space, the empty space in here in the photo, and I'm going to follow along and have the pigeon It's got a fairly short beak, as you notice. This is going to come out. And the chest is quite puffed out. And we're going to have a shape this way. And we've got a big shape coming out this way and this way. So today we're going to have a good chance to do some details on these feathers on the pigeon. Okay, so in my introduction there, I was at my brother-in-law's place a while back, and I didn't know, but he had taken to an interest in pigeons and had bought some and was training them. And so I thought, wow, this would be a great episode for us today to draw a pigeon. So it's got quite a small eye there, I see. Almost looks like a kind of eye that you would draw in a cartoon, perfectly round one, or if you're doing a craft, you would call that a googly eye. When I'm doing crafts, I like to use those googly eyes that you get at the dollar store, and you can put them on just about anything to give something character. So we're not doing this in color. It would be interesting to do this one in color because you can see some beautiful greens and purples in here that just look incredible. Okay. So you know what you can do is just go ahead. My own students, once I say, you know, turn on the shading, they just go like this. So everywhere where you see on your cage where the pigeon is gray, and they do have a lot of gray on them, I want you to shade like so. Just move your pencil back and forth. We're not going to be too precious about it. We're just going to try and get a fairly even tone down first with our pencil. And then we'll let the magic begin here with the Kleenex. I'm just going to rub this all in. I'm not going to worry if we go a little bit outside the lines. Who knows? At the end, I leave it to the students what they want to put in that background. I usually leave it blank, but my students that get ahead and they want to put more pigeons in there, or put a building in there, or they could put a grain elevator or trees, or maybe this pigeon's under a bridge. I don't know. Whatever you want. That's remember what I tell you, that's your artistic license. So if there were art police, I don't think there is, but if there was and they pulled you over for drawing, you could say, you know what, I've got my artistic license, I'm just going to draw whatever I want in there. So there you go. Okay, so it's pretty even tone, although I see that this big shape in here is darker. I've always loved pigeons. I remember when I was I don't know, I was about 9. My parents took us to Europe, and we got to go to a place called Venice in Italy, and in St. Mark's Square there in Venice, there's thousands and thousands of pigeons, and you know, you can, well, it was about 50 cents then. I can't remember how much it is now, but they would give you a little bit of popcorn, and you could hold out your hand and the pigeons would flock all over you. So my sister and I, we put it on our heads and on our arms and everything. We had a whole ton of pigeons all over us. And so when I went there later with my family and my wife, this is a picture of her feeding a pigeon, and there was a little girl in the picture that was watching her, and she wanted to do the same thing. So it's a lot of fun. Feeding pigeons is a lot of fun. My friend Ken gave me this picture from Tokyo, and there's some people feeding pigeons there. I think it's a kind of thing that people like to do all over the world. And then of course there's competitions with pigeons to see how far away they'll go and come back, or carry messages, things like that. They just have a superb sense of direction, and like I said, GPS systems I don't think human beings have even created those directional systems as accurate as a pigeon knows where it is, where it's going. I'm going to shade this in dark all the way around here. Kind of, when you're doing these shading spots, try and kind of squint your eyes to see where all the dark shading is and where it starts to go light. And you'll be amazed at how much more quickly you can do your drawings when you just look at it that way. Remember what I say, if you ever want to pause the video and go get yourself a cup of tea or a snack, come back to it, just go ahead. You don't need to keep up for this whole thing. I do try and keep my episodes to about half an hour because that's about the ideal time, but you know what? Sometimes things come up and you have to leave your drawing for a bit, and that's fine. You can see this triangle area right here. It's a little bit darker. It goes from about here to here to here. And it's got kind of just, the pigeon's feathers are a little bit ruffled in here. You can see. See, actually the eye is a little bit higher up here. It's going to change it. Don't be afraid to change things. They don't have to stay as they are if you're not happy with it. Even though it's not even Halloween yet. That's next week. It snowed quite a lot last night, and it's a wind chill of -18 today here in Okotoks. So I'm happy to be inside drawing today, and I like to make myself a cup of tea before I start, so I'm just going to have a sip here. It's good to have a hot beverage or something that makes it a little bit more, your drawing to be more enjoyable. I like to put on music or listen to music when I'm drawing quite a bit as well, so you can do that. When I do this in the classroom for my own students, I usually put this video on the smartboard at the front of the room, and then I draw beside it so that they can see what I'm doing a little bit easier. The thing about smartboard and the computers and the phones that you're using is that it'll be easier for you to see on different screens. So I try and make sure that you can see and hear what I'm doing as best that I can. I can see that this line, these only go up, these feathers go up and back this way. So this is the what my students and I have termed, we call this backward shading. And so you can use, if you haven't got a kneaded eraser, you can do this. This will work as well. And for everywhere that you see on Pigeon's feathers here where it's lighter, you can kind of work back in. Some of you are going to be more careful than I am when you do this, and you're going to maybe have a better result just by looking at the photograph of the pigeon here and trying to be a bit more accurate in your placement of the lights and the darks. Or you want to soften something, an area, just go in with your Kleenex here. Where I teach in Blackie, Alberta, I was watching the pigeons the other day because they have a grain elevator there. And boy, do pigeons love grain elevators. You know how much they love breadcrumbs, so just imagine all that grain, or by the train tracks where some of it falls. They just love it there. Okay, so you could probably go as far as you wanted with getting these feather patterns just right, exactly like the photo, but I'm going to leave it here. And if you want to do that, you can. I'm going to stop my drawing about now. I think that's pretty good for today. And so it is the, let's see, I believe it's the 25th of October, 2020. And today we drew a pigeon. Put my signature on it here. And we will see you next week on Let's Draw Nature. Beautiful, Mark. Perfect, thank you. That's great.